that are close to me as well, we're all experiencing this restructuring and this reorganisation going on. And some of the side effects of it are, or the symptoms, you could say, I suppose the main one that we just feel lost with ourselves at this point in time. And it feels like that our tangibility or our surety and rock solidness just seems to be gone adrift. If you're feeling that, if you're experiencing this at this point in time, then I would say just take a step back from that feeling and allow it, in a sense, allow it to be. And because what it is a transitory thing. We're in transition, in that transition from the old self to the new self that's been created internally. And if we can really become the observer of it and also the co-creator, but when I say the observer, I don't mean completely disconnected from the process. What I mean is for us to have a more detached approach to it, because there's a lot of energy that will rise up inside of us that will want us to attach to, and they're looking for us to attach to these energies, and they're old patterns, really old patterns, ancient patterns. I felt patterns come up inside of me that are so old and ancient, beyond from before this world was created. We're talking cosmic lineage now. And so sometimes we don't realise what's happening to us or why we feel the way we feel. But the reasons why we're feeling these, feelings of discomfort and uncomfortable emotions and feelings, it's understanding just how old they are and how long we've carried them. And what I'm doing myself personally is just asking myself, am I done with these energies? Do I want to continue to engage in them and continue to learn lessons from them? Or do I feel like truly, not from an egoic level, but just truly from a genuine, authentic and honest assessment of myself, do I feel like I'm done with these energies? And if so, then it's time for me to be released from them. So it's important that we let them go, and it can be quite emotional when we let them go because we've been together for such a long time, like a really, really long time. We're talking relationship again. And so the relationship we've had with these energies are really deep, long, and profound. And they've been very, very great lessons, really fantastic, deep, and great and profound lessons have been learned through our relationship with these energies. But it's important to acknowledge that they are no longer serving us, that our time has come to an end. And, in that process of acknowledgement and the letting go, there is times where it can become quite emotional. But it's always important to maintain respect for these energies as well, because ultimately they're a part of us. So I don't know if there's other people who are listening that have been feeling this kind of thing, but I know there's people that I've been talking to lately that are, and I thought it's a really, really important thing to begin with because, these energies that are coming to the surface, we kind of tend to point the finger and say it's this or it's that or it's something else or it's a demon or it's a whatever or an entity or whatever. And more often than not now, what I'm realising is a lot of these old energies are actually mine and they're very, very old. So being honest with ourselves in that way is really important because when we can identify these energies, that's when we can actually release ourselves from them.
Beautiful, George. Thank you for sharing that. So if anybody has any sharing of that, it doesn't have to be a question for George, just a sharing of what you're going through. If you're resonating with this, and I would really be so grateful if you would step up and be willing to share or speak out. You can do that by hitting the star, by unmuting and speaking, or hitting star, 5-star rather, as well. It often takes a little while to get up your courage on one of these calls, and I thoroughly understand that. But it's also incredibly liberating just to speak, and you don't have to have anything like profound or brilliant to say. just to be present and to be heard for where you're at.
Yeah, it's not a competition. It's
no, not at all.
We're just old ancient friends gathering and having a chat with one another. And what I also found was in these feelings of restructuring, internal restructuring, is I've been feeling lost, almost as though I just don't know where I belong on the planet anymore. Whereas, previously I've always had a good understanding of where I belonged, and it's a really strange feeling. And myself and my friends too, we're feeling like we need to be transient at this point in time, not too anchored in any one place. It's kind of a strange feeling. But, some people know they're supposed to be in a particular location, but there's other people that are feeling this sense of not belonging anywhere at this point in time. I guess it's that process of transition. There's something else to consider.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very uncomfortable in a lot of ways. It's shedding the past, shedding everything that, we talk about this, being complicit with these artificial energies or the energies of the false self or archetypes, or you're calling them ancient energies, that we really have been living as these energies, and as they do start to come to the surface and they no longer feel appropriate, you can feel very lost. I can identify with that. One of my teachers, Beth Green, talks about it as entering the becoming, and it's a complete not knowing, but it's a very pure connection to the river of life, and so it feels very wonderful. But it's the ego's not comfortable with it. There is no fixed identity any longer. That's no longer what's appropriate. It feels very uncomfortable for us who have always seeking identity. Hello. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually was. I just wanted to actually throw out there a big thank you to George because I was really feeling that way and definitely still feeling that way here and there, but I feel a kind of empowerment in it, I suppose. Hey, George, I'm Matt, by the way. Big fan, long-time listener.
Hey, Matt. It's great to talk to you, mate.
Yeah, man, and you were really a big affirmation. I had these kind of crazy experiences, didn't have anybody to talk to, and then just hearing you kind of just being so open about it and just going for it, being like, yeah, you know what, this is kind of what's really going on. And for me, it was just like, no way, this guy is like talking about exactly what I've been going through. And that was kind of this tangible moment in this kind of world of this intangible kind of stuff. And it is unsettling. It does break down like pretty much everything you thought to be true. And I guess when I say I could find a kind of like silver lining or an empowerment in it makes it feel like this is legitimate. This is really going on. You are reconsidering everything you thought you knew, and it is happening before you. And I think you've been actually a really big powerhouse in that. And so I just got to, give a hats off and a big thanks to you, man, because it's serious business. And yeah, so that's about that.
Well, thanks, Matt, and I'm glad that you brought up that issue of empowerment. It's something that I did not include in my opening statement, and it is that sense of uncertainty and that unnerving feeling that we're experiencing when we go through this reconstructive process. It's really, it's the dismantling of the old and the old egoic structure, the old aspects of the personality interface that we are utilizing here on the earth that we communicate to one another through, and all our habits, our idiosyncrasies, our likes, our dislikes. It's really fascinating when you look at that personality construct and how that is actually being, parts of it are being dismantled. And for some of us, the majority of it's being dismantled. It happens in stages, and some stages are more significant than others, and it goes through waves. And, I'm having these sort of like, cycles of every few weeks where it's getting pretty serious and severe for me. And I find that in that place, you've got this sense of vulnerability as well. With the uncertainty comes this feeling of vulnerability. And that vulnerability is the real unnerving part for the established ego, because the ego has the control thing going on. And, the part of, what I refer to as ego, which is the personality in the mental framework controlled by the mind matrix. So for me, that part of us, which has always had the control thing, which is always about rigid structures and being dominant and all those sorts of things, all of a sudden the rug's been pulled out from under it and it's just left floating. And that's the sense of not really belonging anywhere, I suppose, in a sense. And then you've got this vulnerability. And it's like, hey, I'm totally vulnerable here. And when in that realization of knowing that anything can take you out at any moment, at any time, you are completely vulnerable. If someone wants to kill you, they can. If someone wants to shoot you, they can. If someone wants to knock you off, they can. You are completely vulnerable in this human form. It's amazing. And then the realization that, hang on a minute, in this vulnerability through that vulnerability comes this incredible sense of empowerment, because I know that I'm here and having this incredible life with Mother Earth. And like I shared in the interview of late, because I got asked in my previous interview with William and Dean Garner, was, how come no one's knocked you off with the things that you say? It's like, how come you're still here? Well, just like everybody listening now, we're all still here because the agreement we have in place with Mother Earth to be here comes from a place of a much higher level than the ability for any other energies to interfere with. So in that sense of knowing of that I'm actually meant to be here and I've got something to do here is this incredible empowerment. But with that empowerment, it's walking in that knowing with, like I said, respect and understanding. And this is the fine line here is, and I had a wonderful discussion this morning with a person in relation to the subject. It's the fine line between confidence and arrogance. And there are times that we've been arrogant in our lives, and there are times that we've been confident in our lives. And there's times that we've been confident but being judged as being arrogant. And so it's a really fine line between the two. And there are times, have I been arrogant at times? Sure, I have been. Of course I have. But what I want to say here is speaking about knowing that you are here for a reason, that there is something that you're here to do with humanity, with Mother Earth, and that we have a greater purpose at play here, and the knowing that nothing can harm you because you're here for that specific reason, and the agreement comes from a much greater place than the ability for any of these other entities or energies to interfere with. To know that is not arrogance. To know that is confidence. And when I say confidence, you can move the word confident and you can replace it with the word trust. Okay? So what we're really talking about here is trust. Trusting in your own sense of spirit, in your own sense of your heart, soul essence, and trusting in your relationship with Mother Earth, and trusting in your presence here on the earth at this time. And when we do that, it's like we can now walk this earth and have peace, a sense of peace, because we know that we're not going to be harmed in that way. It's really important to know that about ourselves. And it's not about ego. It's not about arrogance. It's just a knowing, and it's the safety and the comfort and the peace that comes with that knowing. And you just walk with this gentle confidence. For me, I'm trying to curb that confidence to make sure it doesn't go into being arrogance because of, I'm a bloke and I've got the Leo thing going on and all that blah, 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 and all that sort of stuff. And I'm working on that. And I've got friends that are helping me to work on that. And so But I want you to know this about yourselves. You are here, you are looked after, you are safe, and go about what you need to do without falling into the entrapment of fear for your safety. You see, if we go about our business in a respectful manner towards others, in a sensible manner, then we've got nothing to fear. If we go about being all brazen and arrogant and all that sort of business, then there's going to be lessons to learn, and the matrix is going to react to our brazen arrogance. Okay, so then there's going to be some difficult circumstances. But if we actually walk in this path of this security, of this safety, and knowing it with a sense of humbleness comes into play, being humble about knowing that you are completely safe, then you can actually just go about doing what you need to do, and you don't have to be concerned of your safety and fall into those patterns of fear.
Yeah, that's so important, because the fear-based brings in all of the patterning that keeps us crazy and keeps us in neurosis and disconnection and separation and in all of it. I mean, fear is, and most of us are still mainly fear-based. We have two hand raising. Evie, you have your hand up. Do you have a question?
Actually, I did, and I think it actually was about the what George mentioned about realizing that some of these energies or entities that were kind of coming at him, I don't know exactly how, that he realized it was part of himself, and I don't know if this was like a realization of any kind of past life memory or existence in a former way of existence. And maybe you can talk about that a little bit, how you recognize that it was part of your own self, or how you created it, or if you can just provide like an example of how that came about.
Yeah, that's a really deep question. Really good question. Thanks, Evie. What I came to realise was the familiarity of some of these energies. Not all of them were old aspects of me, of myself, like directly. What I realised, I'll start with that. The ones that were, I sensed, I could just feel, by feeling into the energy itself, by feeling into the pain, and really looking at it honestly. Like, my approach was just, okay, let's feel into you, let's feel everything there is about you. It's like when you meet somebody, don't you just feel into that person, and sometimes you feel a really wonderful sense of familiarity with the person that you meet. It's like I know them from somewhere. You know, it's that same sort of feeling. This is me. I know this is a part of me. And it's about being completely honest and saying, okay, so this is a part of me. There is a darkness there. It's very ancient. It's been with me a very long time. And I need to embrace my darkness, because there's that part of me is in pain still. It's pain. And it's like a child that needs acknowledgement from the parent, because that energy has been in service for a very long time, that aspect of me. And I need to end all the internal divisions that I have within myself. And so by acknowledging these energies within me and embracing them and being grateful for the service, those aspects of myself, then without judgment, you know, because if you go back into the things that were done from this aspect of self, you could be absolutely mortified and horrified at what you have done in the past. So it's all needs to be done without judgment, because they're all, you know, we have played the role as the perpetrator. There are some of us that remember that. If you can't remember that, then that's okay. But there's some of us that do remember playing the role as a perpetrator somewhere in this journey, in this great cosmic and universal arena here. And so when we can embrace those aspects of self, we are
Conference recording started.
Then we are then bringing them home, you see. We're bringing them home to within our own home within us. and that ends that division, that internal division with that aspect of self. And when we can do that over and over with, different aspects of self that are coming to the surface internally, we're bringing all those parts of ourselves, all those fragmented aspects of self, we're bringing them home and reintegrating and becoming whole again. Really, really powerful stuff. And then there's energies that are ancient beings who we made contracts with a very, very long time ago, and they've been attached to us, so we've been carrying them, and they've been with us on this journey for a very long time. So that's another incredible process to go through, by acknowledging those beings and ending that relationship with that being and saying, thank you for your service all this time, but our time together is now done, and I release you and you release me. And I've been going through, the principles, the 5 principles of closure in, what I'm writing about in universal law. When you go through acknowledgement and you go through gratitude and reconciliation, embrace and release, they're the 5 principles. And, there's quite a detailed sort of procedure to go with each one of those. But when we do go through that process of implementing these 5 principles of closure, then amazing things happen, because every time we release, because it's an agreement in place, and when we release ourselves from that agreement, that weight that we've been carrying around for such a long time is transmuted, and therefore we're no longer carrying that ball and chain around anymore, and that's how we become more enlightened. We become lighter because that density has been transmuted, it's been released.
I like that, the enlightened part. It's about becoming lighter. That's true.
Okay. We have a couple more questions here. Is that all right, George?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, there's someone here. It's not Max. I don't know the name. You have your hand up. Okay, Maya, what is your question?
Mm-hmm. Well, it wasn't really a question. I was just, and George did such a beautiful job explaining all of this but when he was talking about feeling lost, not belonging, the uncertainty and feeling strange, it's just, I just want to cry, because that's what I've been going through the last few weeks. And I don't know why. My life is right now. I should not have these feelings. I should feel empowered. I should not have all these fears that are coming onto me. And I just literally cry myself to sleep sometimes, because I'm feeling alone and lonely and scared. But, of course, you just explained why. So that's beautiful, George. Hurry up and finish your discourse, please.
Yeah, I'm doing my best. The other thing is that we come to realize then, in that place of feeling lost and more of that feeling of discomfort, that there's more layers to us than what we first realized.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. We need to actually realize that the reason we're going through this is also because we've still got a few more layers to work through. So, because our cosmic ego is the part that a lot of us tend to forget about. The level of ego, not just the one we have here on Earth, but the ancient cosmic ego that we've been working through as extraterrestrials, and as it's what I've also called the traveling spirit. If you look at the traveling spirit as the personality of the great arena, that's another way of presenting it to you, because that'll really help put things into context. So if you look at that spirit aspect of ourselves, actually having an ego, that explains everything. Even though people would think, how dare you say that any kind of spirit can have an ego? Well, there's plenty of spirits out there that have egos, I assure you of that. Even entities, and God entities have egos, otherwise they wouldn't be interested in ruling and over other beings, would they? So it's important for us to realize that aspect of ourselves has ego, and they're the layers that we're working through as well. We've actually ventured further into the depths of this universe further than we realized. It's not that we're at the beginning of the process. We're nearing the end of the process now. So I'm not trying to take the wind out of your sails. It's actually the other way around. It's just a reality check that we've got a few more layers to go. But it's also knowing that we are now working through the biggest layers, the highest layers. We're nearly there. We're not far from actually being completely home. And when it does happen, my goodness, is this world going to change? Because we're going to change it.
Okay, we have another question from Matt Reed. Matt?
Yeah, no, this is so great. Well,
thanks, Matt.
Something for me that's been, really a struggle that you brought up, and I love your 5 points there, but just like essentially boils down to just embracing those dark sides. Like, in what way, like, do we embrace? I guess something I've been thinking of is like empathy. But I want to know what you have to say.
Are you there, Matt?
Yeah, I'm here. Did that come through?
No, we just lost the last little bit of what you were saying.
Oh, sure. Yeah, just essentially, like, how do we embrace those dark sides of ourselves? Like, in what way? And something for me has been, like, looking at it in empathy, but I'd like to know more.
Yeah, sure. It's, when I say embracing the dark, some people have taken it, I'm not saying that you have, but I just want to make a broad statement that's, because we've gotten feedback from people in this subject matter, and some people just say, I totally disagree with you that we need to embrace the dark. You know, they say that we need to actually, deny the darkness any validity, any acknowledgement, and any power whatsoever. And that's not what I mean when I say embrace the dark. I don't mean become subservient to it. And I don't mean like team up with it against the light. I don't mean that. When I say embracing the dark, I mean facing your darkness. And like you said, you embrace it with empathy. So you've got to give it like, the darkness, whether it realizes or not, it needs a cuddle. It needs a hug. So from that point of view, you're this beautiful, unconditionally loving being, and you come up to the darkness and you just give it this beautiful embrace of empathy and compassion and understanding and non-judgment, but from a place of strength where you embrace it with strength as well and fortitude. So at the same time you're sharing love and compassion and empathy, but at the same time you're letting it know that it's not going to control you and manipulate you.
Beautiful. It does need a cuddle. It really does.
And it needs not to control and manipulate you anymore either. So I like that, both sides of that. So for those of you who just entered the call, you can raise your hand by hitting 5 star to ask a question or to share. You don't have to, be brilliant or have some huge, profound thing on your mind. It can be, just a simple sharing of where you're at and resonating against George's wisdom. I really encourage you all to speak up a little bit here on the call, because it's really wonderfully liberating to open your voice and speak your reality. That's why we're holding this space, so that you begin to have a chance to do that and not just listen to us talk at you all the time.
Is there a question you would like to ask Miss Sienna Lane? If nobody else has a question, that is, of course.
Actually, there are a few more questions here, and okay, I don't know the names, but go ahead and state your question. There's another question on the floor.
This is Melody. Oh.
Okay, maybe one at a time. I'm sorry, we're having a little technical difficulty. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Melody?
Hi. I just wanted to mention to George that his interview with William Dean Garner, how fascinating and how that really changed things up for me.
Wow.
His interview with him.
Wow, thank you very much, Melody. I really appreciate that. It was a super interview. The energy between Dean and I was really fantastic. Yeah.
Yes, it was. I learned much I didn't realize.
He's a very knowledgeable man. He's really seen it from the other side that a lot of us don't get to see it from. And, from within that military side and all these connections with, you could say, the political infrastructure. Yeah, it's really quite amazing. And I was really amazed to hear that he also played a role in editing Dan Brown's Da Vinci Code. So that was really quite fascinating.
Yeah. I do have a question as far as how many are really waking up to their fullest capabilities?
I feel that it's a lot more than we've... Yeah, I feel it's a lot more than we know, because there's a lot of people that are just really just towing the party line and they're not making waves. Because what I'm seeing out there in society is that it's tightening up. It's really getting tight out there for a lot of people, and so they really have to keep their mouths shut. And that's part of the system for, what's that word? And I'm looking for it. It escapes me. For people that, sedition is the word. They're trying to create an aura of sedition in our communities, in our societies. So that people like us, we would be charged with sedition because we speak up against the system. So it's kind of slowly but surely being implemented out there. And so a lot of people actually, even though they do know, they really don't say much because they can't go against, they can't be seen to go against the herd. Otherwise things get difficult for them in their jobs and in their families and in their homes and relationships and what have you. So I've noticed that's taking place. So I feel it's a lot more than what we actually, those of us who are kind of, if you call us on the fringe, living on the fringe of the matrix, it's not a very heavily populated place. It's becoming more populated, but you'd be surprised how many are still inside the matrix but don't say anything.
Wonderful. Okay. Thank you, George.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right.
Thank you, Anna.
Blessings to you. Another question from Matt Reed. Matt, did you have another question?
Actually, I want if anyone else has a question, go for it. But I guess something I've always wondered is, if George, if you have any insight as to this kind of breakdown process that humanity and evolution has been doing on the kind of grander scale, because I feel this is all intentional. We go through these cycles of building up and breaking down, and what is the kind of the hope of having gone through this sort of barbaric period?
Yeah, it was.
And everyone, please mute your mics if you're not speaking, please. Thank you. Sorry, George. Please continue.
No, that's okay. Yeah, there is a bit of background noise there. Yeah, if people can mute their microphones, that would be wonderful. Thanks. So through this plunge into the Dark Ages, it served a number of purposes, not just a single purpose. You could say one of the major ones is allowing that energy to come and infiltrate into the Earth domain and into humanity. It has taught us how not to be. That's really the greatest lessons of the Dark. It teaches you every single way possible how not to go about it. That's quite ironic, really. And another lesson is to teach all the beings that are involved in the Dark Agenda for them to learn the lesson. So the irony of it too is that we are teaching them. So even though it is perceived that we have been on the receiving end, or shall we say, played the victims, and the dark been the perpetrator.
Please mute your mic. If someone has a child out there, please mute your mic. Excuse me, George.
Yeah. And then we have the roles. I call it the four. If you look at the medicine wheel again, you've got the four main principles, and the center principle is the intent. And in every co-created experience, we have the teacher, the student, the perpetrator, and the victim. Just looking at it from this basic learning point of view. And that's the basic construct. So there are times that we've played the victim, and then there are times that we've played the perpetrator. And there are times that we're playing and it's actually symbiotic. We're playing all of these all at the same time in a way. And when we're the student, but then we're also the teacher. So it's been this huge dynamic on a very grand universal scale as to why this has been allowed to take place here, because it is a fractal of the universe. And so therefore all these beings that are looking at this reality, and all the beings that are connected to this reality, which is pretty much the whole universe, and everyone's connected in one way or another, then the lessons learnt in this reality have been the greatest lessons learnt in the entire universe. And the other energies and entities that are jealous of that will do everything in their power to devalue this reality, to devalue us, and to devalue what's going on here.
Wow, that's great. That's so cool. That was the coolest answer. Yeah. And I feel like they try so hard to kind of put a stop to it, because it seems like if we make it to the other end, it's kind of a done deal.
Yeah, it is, and that is their greatest fear, is that we make it, and we show them up that all their persecution, all their judgment, all the self-righteousness that they pour into the world and pour into the psyche of humanity. It's not going to amount to much, is it? Then they'll be exposed for who and what they are.
Thank you so much, George.
You're all heroes in this, You're all heroes. You're all in the front line. You're all riding the crest of the wave. It's really important to acknowledge that about ourselves.
I have a question, George. There are people that have been so deeply traumatized, from a very, very early age. I mean, I'm talking about, you're one of them, really. Severe torture, no love, horrible abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, torture to the extreme. And, now in a way we're being asked to let go of our reactivity to that, never acknowledged, never given kindness, never had the basic needs of a fundamental, even from the infantile level, met. How do you really overcome that? How do you learn? How do you take the steps to stop being the reaction to the predator agenda? Because some of the victimhoods that are out there, I mean, the level of horror and torture and pain and abuse and violence is so over the top that even though many of us in our hearts want to get over everything, there are aspects of our being that are really struggling with that.
Yeah, they are, and I know what that feels like. Even though I did have loving parents, the entities that were taking me and torturing me, even up until, a couple of years ago, even last year, it still has happened on the odd occasion for me. And it really, how do you reconcile that? When I was being tortured and I was there with these extraterrestrials and being raped and tortured on the craft, how do you actually deal with that? How do you reconcile that? And I know what that feels like because I was there and I've experienced it. And the only way to overcome it is to forgive them. And it is the most difficult thing anybody will ever do is to go through the 5 principles of closure when you have to forgive, embrace, and release with love and gratitude for the co-created experience. It is the toughest thing I've ever had to do. And it was internally, it was the toughest thing. It really hurt. But now I'm liberated from that pain because I've forgiven them. And I've even gone to the place of being grateful for the experience because it made me the person that I am today. And I know that in my past, I've also been the perpetrator. We've all played the perpetrator and the victim. If we can't understand that about ourselves, then, we've got to get out of that self-righteous sort of judgmental place within ourselves. We've all done it. If you've journeyed through this universe and you've experienced everything, then you've done that. What they did to me, I've done to either them or someone else somewhere along the line. And we just need to be really honest about life, honest about ourselves. If you can't be that honest, then you'll forever be in denial within a part of your being, within yourself. And through that honesty and through the realization and through the pain that comes with the realization that we have, I used to say it in interviews way back, I've been the most evil of evil that's ever existed. I've been the most loving, caring, compassionate that's ever existed. We've been there. We've seen it all. We've done it all. So if we've done all that, and think of the amount of wisdom that we have learnt from each of those experiences. You don't really know until you walk in those shoes. Other than that, you're just intellectualizing, and judging, and coming from a place of superiority complex. Unless you walk in those shoes, you don't know. You don't know until you've been there. And then when you start to realize that somewhere in your journey that you've played these roles, then you go, okay, so I do know, which means I can actually now draw on that wisdom. See, I can draw on that wisdom and that knowledge and speak from a place of empowerment, a place of knowing, a place of capacity, a place of ability, because I've been there and I've done that. I'm not talking from a place of, I read it in a book somewhere, or I heard someone else talk about it. When we start sharing knowledge and wisdom from our heart, soul essence, from our genuine, authentic place, then the energetic frequencies that are in that expression, in that emanation, is a very powerful thing.
It does seem that you radiate a kind of love that, in my experience, is in the old days, it would be the light transmission from a guru. That it actually, as I've experienced your heartfelt reality is communicative and creates a path of light and connection that is really quite extraordinary. Somebody's coughing and all. Could you mute your mic, please, whoever's coughing like that? Thank you. It's quite extraordinary. And this comes from having gone to that level of depth and retrieved that deep, deep, deep connection, I think, because it is quite extraordinary. The healing that I experience with you, George, is a direct communication energetically. If that makes any sense. Which makes I don't know if you know that about yourself. Yeah.
Well, all I'm doing is being just me. When I talk about being natural and authentic and genuine from our heart, soul essence, this is what I'm doing. And it's amazing how many people can identify with that. It makes them, it helps them to feel comfortable, peaceful, and at home, even though we're talking about very difficult subjects, very challenging subjects. And there is a sense of empowerment that comes from that. And so when you get a taste of my energy when I express myself, what you're really getting is a taste of what you have within yourself. And so when people communicate with me or listen to me speak and they go, I really love listening to the sound of your voice, George, which is what I hear quite often. And I say, well, really, you're listening to the sound of my heart. And so when you listen to the sound of your own heart, imagine what that's going to feel like within you, because you've got the same thing going on within you. And when we speak from this place beyond all programs, all of these doctrines and practices and ideologies and programs, you go back to just your basic heart, just who you genuinely are at the core. Just be honest with yourself. That is really what we're all aiming to achieve, and the simplicity of it. This is what does everyone else's head in, which is exactly the right statement to say. It does the head in because it's beyond all the mental frameworks and all the programs and all the dogmas and doctrines and ideologies, which are really all head stuff. You know, they talk about the heart, they promote love, they talk about the heart, but are they really in the heart? Like, really in the heart? You know, and you guys really got it in the heart. That's the difference. It's just so simple. Yeah.
We have another question. I don't see the phone number here, but someone has raised their hand.
Evie. I did.
Okay, great. Go ahead, Evie.
Well, actually, I wanted to also say that George's presence and his hand, gosh darn it, this thing was going off. Anyway, I just wanted to reiterate that I had the same kind of experience with George's heart presence in terms of like a memory of activation of that essence of my own being. So I think it's a really powerful place to be. So I just want to, thank George for that. But I did have a question about your insights that arose about having played other roles in other existences and lifetimes. Let's say, being the victim one time and the perpetrator another. And what I want to know is, in your healing process, what came first? Did your self-acceptance and someone else's compassion in delving into your own feelings and experiences in this life happen first before those insights arose? Or was there a process that you recognized how this happens?
Yeah, for me, I ended up, I suppose, going deeper into myself because of the trauma that I was experiencing from my abductions. And I mean, when I say abductions, I don't just mean alien, I mean also ruling elite, earthly abductions and military underground bases. So when I went through all these sorts of abductions and being harassed and what have you in my own home from beings turning up interdimensionally, just manifesting. So when I went through all that and tried to live with that, it then ended up translating into the way I was expressing myself on an earthly level with people. And I found myself losing control. I never raised a hand against anybody, but I remember speaking to people in a really awful way, really abusive, but not only abusive, in a real twisted way. There were moments where I was out of control, and I came to realize that was due to the amount of pain that I was harboring inside of me, that something wasn't right with me. And I came to realize that I wasn't coping as well as I thought. So I guess it was the circumstances in my life, like the matrix here, mirrored back to me an aspect of myself. I came to realize that, and I just went, wow. It was a major revelation that I'm getting back what I'm putting out. So that's when my journey inward really started to happen in a big way. And I thought, well, I've really got to sort myself out. And the other thing I did was I got away from toxic relationships. You really got to have the courage just to get away from a toxic relationship. That to have that freedom of space around you, then to be able to do the inner work, wow. And just hold on to people in your life that are supportive. That is a real big one. It's a very difficult thing to do, but it's something that Really, really, I highly recommend it because the only thing that's going to keep you there is guilt. Guilt is a prison wall that will keep you in those toxic relationships, really. You might think it's money or you might think it's whatever, but guilt is the one. That's the biggest prison wall. And then when you create an environment that is more supportive to you doing the inner work, then you've got to be really honest with yourself and go in there and really look at the pain. And for me, because of the severity of my experiences, I pretty much went to work on myself for a really good, hard 10 years, 12 years. That's how long my process took. You see, now, when people hear that, they think, oh, my goodness, I haven't got another 10 years to work on myself. Look at it like this. I needed to do it the way I did it in this lifetime. This is my construct for this lifetime. Some people listening to me speak here, you've probably done most of the work in a previous life, but you don't need to do as much in this life. You don't need to experience as much pain. You don't need to experience as much, whatever, as I did in this lifetime. And there are different reasons. I've got different set of responsibilities on a cosmic level to other people. So, again, there's that dynamic at play here as well. So for me, going inward and looking at my pain was an inward journey that took a very long time. And when I came to realise the interactions that I had with, yes, people in this life, but also I was having continuing interactions with other beings in other dimensions constantly, like an open connection constantly. I had to deal with that as well because I wanted to shut a lot of them out and say you are no longer welcome to be in my world, as a part of this incarnational experience that I'm having. So there was a lot of things that I had to deal with in my life.
Hello? George?
Yeah.
Oh, I think we may have lost him. Have we lost everyone? Okay. Total craziness. That's incredible. They just disconnected the whole call. I don't know who funds free conference calling, but we did some research, and I don't think there are people that would enjoy this call. There was the second time the call's been dropped, and we're just going to carry on. My apologies to everybody. Okay. Amazing. Just disconnected us.
Claudia.
Oh. Hello. Okay. Wow. Well, we do have a question here, I believe. A 515 area code? Perhaps not. We'll let people get back on.
Yeah.
Let's see. That was just so valuable what you were saying. I don't really want to jump too far off of there. I don't know how much you said before you realized the call was dropped either.
Yeah, I'm not really sure either, but I suppose a good person to ask would be Evie because she asked the question.
Evie, are you back?
I'm back. I know I got cut off too.
Everybody got covered.
Yeah, he answered the question pretty much, and I can shoot another one if he's ready for another question.
Rita?
Okay, ask.
That would be fine with me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are you up for that?
I want to ask George what his experience with the Divine Mother as the living intelligence of the planet is or was, and how instrumental she is in his process.
Yeah, wow, what a big question. She's very, very instrumental in my process. She's played a big role. So too has the sun and the galaxy and obviously the universal creator. So they've all played a role, but really the role that Mother Earth has played for me is really helping me to understand the feminine more than I ever have in my life. Understanding the role that Mother Earth is playing as a woman, as a planetary woman. Okay, so if we look at the planets as people, and you have men planets and woman planets, and the role that Mother Earth is playing as a woman planet I saw that archetype. Okay, she's playing the role of several archetypes, but the main archetype of sacrifice, I then came to realise that it's in every woman. It's in every body, right? Sure. But to understand the degree of it in woman on the planet, that so helped me to understand the woman that I have in my life, as in my mother, my wife, my sister, my friends, all the female people that I have in my life. Yeah, I really began to understand what's going on.
Okay, so I'm going to ask again that if you're not asking a question directly, you please mute your mic and hit 5 star to ask a question. That would be most helpful. All right, and we have people popping in because the call dropped. I apologize for this. But we will persist. All right, now we have a 520 number, and you have your hand up. Would you like to ask a question, please?
Yes, please. My name is Jean, and I'm a real fan of George's and Sienna's. So, George, I wanted to ask you more about your process of working through your stuff. I feel like I have a lot of emotions coming up, and thank goodness I don't have a lot of outside things to trigger them. They're just coming up. And what I'm getting from what you're saying is that feeling them all the way through may not be enough. Because I notice when I feel my feelings, if I get to a deep one, it brings up the belief that goes along with it, and it helps me loosen that belief. And then I realize what that was all about.
Yeah, and there's feelings too that come up that just need to actually just flow out. So I guess it's what I'm doing, the way I'm addressing these issues at the moment is using my discernment, my intuitive discernment, and knowing which ones just to let continue to flow and which ones actually need addressing. Because we can end up being caught in a perpetual cycle of forever working on our emotions and feelings that are flowing through us. And this is one thing that I really came to know. Is, not all of them need addressing. Some just actually need just to leave because they're done. And, some of them are coming from a subconscious level. That we're bringing to an end a universal journey, a journey through this grand arena in this universe. And when we begin to try and fathom the amount of energy we're talking about, there's just the amount of processing we're doing on a subconscious level is massive. Like, let me word it the other way. The amount of processing the amount of processing we're doing on a conscious level that we're aware of is a drop in the ocean compared to what we're processing, what we are unaware of. And so when we realize this, then we go, okay, so the ones that are in our conscious level, some of those need addressing. That's why they're in the conscious realm. And then some of them don't need addressing. I came to realize that they just need to flow, and we just need to be aware of their presence, but allow them to flow. So sometimes, there'll be a day where my mind is like mush. I cannot work. My eyes are hanging out of my head. And those are the days where I just have to honour me. So you take time out and do what you've got to do. If you've got to eat a block of chocolate and curl up on the lounge under a blanket, do it. Just switch off from the world. And if that's the way you go about it, then that's the way you go about it. But just let those energies flow and just honour them and say thank you and go through the process of releasing.
Okay. We have another question from Matt. Matt?
Hand lowered.
Yeah, I just wanted to say really quick how that's such a great insight, because we really are releasing physically. So to take the intention to match that, it's like consciousness can't help itself but to sort of match what's already happening. So it's funny, but I don't think that sounds crazy at all. But yeah,
I started doing this process about 6 weeks ago, about 2 months ago, and it's had a really profound effect. It really helped turn things around for me, because I was in a really tough place going back a couple of months ago, like really tough place, and it really has helped. It really helps with the letting go, because you're feeling it physically as well.
It's kind of funny, but I've had these experiences with. I had an experience with this extraterrestrial gray being, and it was funny because one of the things he was making fun of humanity, and one of the kind of highlights he brought up was the toilet. Like, oh, what a perfect symbol of the throne of humanity, where you sit on it and you waste a gallon of fresh water and you wipe your ass with cut down trees. You know, how pathetic. So yeah. It's just kind of funny that you bring that up.
So let's make use of that process in a really proactive way, because that will help us, because that is part of the process of being human and being a consumer in this reality. We consume, and so there's going to be waste. And in a strange sort of way, we have been consuming energies in our journey for a very, very long time on an energetic level. Well, it's time now to let go of all the unwanted, of all what, from a derogatory point of view, you could call it waste, but it's not, because in that process, I'm actually releasing with love. I'm not actually, when I say the unwanted, I also go through the process of releasing with love in that moment. It's not something that I look bad upon or look down upon or be derogatory towards.
Yeah, no, that's something that's come up for me quite a bit, is what is our relationship to our waste? That's something that's incredibly important, actually. The thing we least want, the thing we want to throw in a pile and bury and get rid of. What is our relationship to that? It's sort of a bottom point.
You pardon the pun, yeah.
But that's actually super cool. It's funny because But my question actually is, I've been online talking with people who are very much in the belief that everything is an illusion. They don't trust the sun, they don't trust the earth, they don't trust their body. They are getting rid of all of their emotions. The only way out is to commit suicide, and you got to have enough guts to do it. Anything else is feeding the system. And I just want to know, what is your kind of reaction or response to that kind of point of view?
Yeah. Okay, the illusion thing is quite a big deal. I feel quite passionate about that. Because of my love and the connection that I have with Mother Earth and Father Sun and all of humanity and the natural kingdom and the galaxy and what's actually going on here in this part of the universe, which I've already explained, I feel that is all part of the program to devalue what's going on here. And they take quite a self-righteous approach to it. And basically I have this statement, which I will read out. The statement of this reality being an illusion is a defensive move by the ego, which hasn't the capacity to take responsibility for its co-creative process. Simple as that. I'll read it out again. The statement of this reality being an illusion is a defensive move by the ego, which hasn't the capacity to take responsibility for its co-creative process. That's hitting the ego with a sledgehammer. Because what's happening is everything that takes place in this universe is a co-creative process. So to want to go into a reality and then to say, oh, this is all just fake, it's just a dream, it's just an illusion, it's just a hologram, it's not worth anything. Have a think about why someone would want to do that. And here we have the most important thing going on in the entire universe is here on planet Earth. The amount of pain that Mother Earth has gone through, of eons, era after era, after epoch of pain and suffering, what she has given of herself, what the sun has given of itself, what the other planets in the solar system have given of themselves, to have this, what humanity, what we have given of ourselves, what the natural environment has given of itself, all this sacrifice. And for what? What, for people just come here and just call it all an illusion? What a cop-out. That is so piss weak. And am I fired up? Yeah, you bet. Because I'm passionate. I'm passionate about my love for Mother Earth, and I'm passionate about our humanity. And these people come here and they take the high moral road. They play the self-righteous spiritual masters over and above and beyond everybody else, where they're just showing and exposing their egos for what's really going on here. They haven't the capacity, to deal with their co-creative process. They haven't. So they've got to put it down. They've got to cop out like that because they're weak. We're the way showers. We're the ones that stepped into these bodies, and we're the ones that chose to be completely vulnerable to the forces of limitation. That's courage. That's strength. That's wisdom. That's power.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. It does feel like a cop out. That's how I felt about it, and it also really is. It's besides the point. It feels like it doesn't. I mean, what difference does that make? If you could argue all day long about it, and at the end of the day, when you're sleeping and you're in a dream, it doesn't feel any different than when you're in a normal reality. So it really, ultimately changes nothing.
Well, to say that this reality is just a dream is to say, well, what is reality? What's real? You go to another reality, it has its construct and its makeup. And then you go to another reality and it has its construct and its makeup, I get taken in my dream states into all these other realities where beings try to manipulate me through those dream states. But they are an actual reality. They exist. I experience them. Okay? I don't devalue them. I leave them behind, and I know what their purpose and their intention are. But I'm not going to say they're just an illusion. They're actually real. They're happening, and I'm experiencing them. I'm experiencing this reality. And, we have purpose and intention and reason for existing in a particular reality. That's what we need to work out. And then we need to take responsibility for it, for our existence in any particular reality. We need to own it. And these people don't know how to own it. They're too weak. So they've got to flob it off as just an illusion. And then they go and judge everybody else, that everyone else has all just been pathetically caught up in materialism and whatever. They take this high, self-righteous, judgmental approach to life, and it's really sad. But, they're going to find out. In the long term, they're going to find out. Some will find out sooner, others will find out later. But eventually they're going to find out at the wonderful and grand opportunity that they lost if they continue with this path. And they're going to hurt because of it. They're going to feel that shame and that hurt of the most incredible opportunity ever offered in this universe is going to be lost because their ego's got in the way.
Well, thank you so much, George. That's amazing. Thank you so much.
All right. Do we have someone else with their hand up? I don't see a phone number or a name, but go ahead and ask your question, please.
Okay, it's Evie. I just wanted to thank George for making those statements about people who assume that this world and our reality is an illusion and kind of act in arrogance. And I've definitely seen that a lot, especially in the research community. And what I've noticed observing, working with people and even in my own life, that arrogance plays a role actually to cover up pain that someone might have. And I think that if they got more in touch with the pain in their heart and really worked out their pain, that arrogance would kind of fall away and that ego would kind of melt. And so I see that there's a lot of people still in a lot of pain,
There is, yeah. That's wonderfully put, Evie. It is masking pain, isn't it?
And it's just, learning how to work through it and helping to create that space for people so that could fall away. And that's a challenge, I have to say. But it's good to see that people are doing it, like you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the real part is we seem to be allergic to real. We're so conditioned out of it. The artificial intelligence and the artificial matrix, it has seduced us into thinking what is false is what is attractive and what will get us what we want. And we're way deep into it. And when we see reality, whether it's real feelings or somebody stating whatever the reality is, we recoil. And it's a very weakening process, isn't it? We become allergic to life in a lot of ways, and it's very refreshing to be around you. Please mute your mic, whoever just joined. Please mute until you ask a question. But it's a reconditioning. Even come back into a real relationship with life. And, of course, all of these years of patriarchy and dominator culture have demonized emotion, feelings, sexuality, sensuality, beingness. It's all been demonized. It's all been made bad and wrong. And so the core of what is really us, we feel ashamed, embarrassed. And it's so refreshing to be around somebody who is saying, no, I'm truly proud of being a human being, vulnerable, and, sitting, processing my stuff on the throne, all of this stuff. It's so great, though, because when you're out there, we can feel it with you, and we can go, oh, this is so wonderful. And then bit by bit, as you share what it takes to get there, we can start shifting our values, which is like a huge U-turn from everything we've been conditioned to be. And right now, everything that's out there conditioning us. It's a big shift to believe in what's real.
Yeah, well, it really is an inward shift, isn't it? It's from an outward shift to an inward shift. And, I just want to say what you just explained about the synthetic and how it's making the false so attractive. What marvelous words you just spoke, Sienna. Fantastic stuff.
Oh, yeah, every now and then I get to come up with some marvelous words, and that's a great blessing that, I can share something that resonates with other people. It gives me great blessing to be able to offer that. I also wanted to mention, we have more than a half hour left, but I wanted to just take a little moment out, you all, and just say something about you, George. I'm going to read something off of your website just for a second. George and Cynthia have worked tirelessly, sharing experiences and wisdom with the intention of informing humanity in a way that empowers the individual. They do this unconditionally and kindly, providing over 90% of the material free of charge. And so I am asking myself and all of us here to kindly go to George's website, our/journey/home.com, and make a contribution of whatever you can. tonight, as generous a contribution as you can for him taking this time out and for all that he gives. It's true that our way showers seem so natural and their gift is so organic that we completely take it for granted that they're just independently wealthy and they can do this forever for nothing for us. And isn't it all lovely? And that's just not always the case. So please do what you can. And how would they do that on your website, George? Where do they go on your website to make a contribution? Because I noticed you don't have a donate button.
Yeah, there is, but apparently it's a difficult process. So I think the simplest way, and I wasn't expecting that, so thank you very much, Sienna Lee, for mentioning that.
No, I think it's really important, and I know that you weren't expecting it, George. Yeah,
thank you.
But how do they do it?
I think probably one of the easiest ways is just to purchase an episode, an MP3 download, and what I've got there is you choose the amount. So there you go. You can go as low as 1 cent and go as far as you like.
Well, I would say a
suggested
donation of $10 or $5 would. I'm just saying suggested. It's just my opinion, or $1,000, whatever you can afford. But yeah. Okay, cool. So you go and you buy an episode on. You have a shopping card, and okay, well, look around for that.
It'll be instantly with PayPal, and if people can't do PayPal, then I think the contribution method allows you to do something other than PayPal. So you can try either of those two methods.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. All right, we have a half hour left, and I'm going to be pushy and ask some of these people who I know are great fans and whose life have been profoundly altered by your presence to at least say hello to George. Dusty, are you there? Dusty, are you on? Okay, maybe she had to get off. Claudia, are you there?
Yes, I'm
Claudia,
here.
are you on the call? All right. Do you have any?
Hi, I'm here.
Oh, you. Dusty, you're there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Dusty. I would love you to say something to George. I'm sorry, I'm being very pushy here, but...
hey, Dusty.
Yes.
Hi, George.
How you going?
About 3 years. It's going really good.
Wow. Whereabouts are you?
I'm from Van Buren, Arkansas. It's in the middle of the United States.
Can I say something here, Dusty? I mean, I won't reveal all the details of your life, but Dusty has taken your understandings that she's gleaned from the Shadowland Forum. She's really a deep researcher. She's a 24-year-old girl with a husband and a few children that has really diving deep into embodying everything you're talking about. She's the real deal. And so I just wanted your presence to be felt here, Dusty, because I respect and admire your authenticity.
Thank you, Sienna.
Thank you, Dusty. Thank you for having the courage to be yourself.
Yeah, she's posted lots of things, and she's working really deep on herself, and she's just no BS about this girl whatsoever, and just incredible, profound wisdom pours out of her on my forum all the time, and she's awesome.
Yeah, good stuff. Another shining light.
Any kind of, yeah, she totally is. And she's also up against this thing, what you were talking about being in the Matrix, having these profound life-changing experiences, really being able to navigate inner space, embracing it all, diving into it, being with it, being willing to do all that, and then having to go work at Walmart during the day,
Yeah, it's really challenging, isn't it, for us to do that? And I'm going to get off from here and go hang out the clothes that I got sitting in the washing machine. It's just normal stuff. We're normal people. And it's quite amazing. Would I be able to read something out from my course as well that I've written?
Absolutely, George.
Yeah. I'd like to read an excerpt It's to do with the synthetic light. It goes like this. The synthetic light energies from the God entity of established religions and the New Age religion need to spiritually stimulate the person in the way of warm tingles and bliss sensations, as they still need to experience the buzz factor. Because I talk about the buzz factor a lot in the course, although not in the way the sensory overload people do in the Matrix, but in a seemingly more righteous way and manner of experience. It cannot be seen to feel cheap, as it needs to fulfill certain parameters of expectation. These parameters of expectation are in place due to the cultural and spiritual programming and conditioning of people. It is due to their cultural dogmas, doctrines and practices, the ideas, the concepts and notions that are being propagated along with the imagery and the ideology of religious doctrine. The ideology of, if it is going to be something spiritual, then it must be like this or it must be like that. And that is where these expectations come from, this predetermined, pre-organized and pre-programmed state of spiritual ideology. And the reason I wanted to share that with you, I feel it's a really, really important statement, is that what we have done is we're breaking away from a preconceived and pre-programmed idea, in other words, someone else's idea of what true organic spirituality should be.
Yeah.
And we're just finding the natural, organic, spiritual nature of our own beingness within. You know, and we're getting away from all these programs and all these other people's ideas of what it should be. Whether it's a deific figure that turns up, whether it's a guru that channels some other entity from another dimension. It's just so simple, just to be your natural, authentic self and that part of you that is one with God, that is one with the creator of this universe, that is one with the planet, that is one with the sun, and that is one with everyone and everything around you. That's the part of you that is that. So another way of saying it is, my heart is my eye.
Not your third eye. Not
your
pineal gland. People are so...
No, but my true third eye is my heart.
I like that.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. And it's so great that we're starting to come together in small groups, even though this is a sort of a funky, tentative beginning. But I'm certainly going to advocate for more places, where we can meet and where George can be present and others that really are resonating with this, because we really need to support each other, come out of the closet and have a place to just let it hang out and meld that incredible, profound wisdom of simply being an embodied, humane being. It's very hard to do in isolation. Of course, that's what the construct wants, and they've done a really good job for us all. And this money thing is really ridiculous. So somehow or another, we need to hold the attention that we can come out of the closet and really heal together too, in whatever ways we can, and keep this energy going. I feel really strongly about that.
Yeah, we need to keep this energy flowing from our, around us, being this authentic way changes our world around us, our immediate world around us, because we're changing our inner world, and then that is reflected to our outer world. So the more we can do that, the more we change the world around us, the more we end up changing the world in general.
It's so hard because a lot of the people who are really becoming the new humane beings are, like I said, isolated behind illness, or they've been so traumatized A lot of them have a kind of autism or Asperger's. I'm meeting a lot of people like that, the ones that literally cannot lie. They have to tell the truth, and that's so threatening that they just hide. And then when we get to this state, we're all kind of like that, really. Where do you go with it? How do you let it mature and develop because it takes some kind of human connection and interaction to grow this baby into into maturity. So we're, the idea of resources breaking through and communicate. But you're right. Each one of us that comes out of the closet, you're going to attract that kind of support, aren't you? Because there may be people right in your world and you don't know because you're hiding. Because we tend to hide. I mean, I notice even on these calls, people come and they won't say anything. And it's not anyone's fault. We're so conditioned to protect that vulnerability. But it isn't serving us to keep doing that.
Yeah, eventually we'll overcome it. Yeah, everybody will overcome it eventually because we'll all have our little role to play in transforming this world. Yeah. But we'll know what that is. Everyone will know what that is within themselves. No one's going to tell you what to do. You'll just know what it is.
Now, Matt, have you raised your hand again, or I'm not sure here.
Oh, I did. No, I've got like.
Oh, Evie too. Okay. A million.
But,
okay.
I want to let some other people talk who haven't spoken yet. So.
I would love someone else to raise their hand. At the moment, it's Evie. You have another question?
I just wanted to, reconfirm or validate the aspect of what we're really doing is becoming more human and more humane when we allow ourselves to connect heart to heart and being honest and vulnerable and, being in touch with feelings and it's such a dramatic shift from the artificial, synthetic, and what I call the archontic programming that's going on in the world, and just how I think that if we could help support others and to be in this place so that we can know what it feels like to be more human and to be safe in that place and to help nurture and support others, because it really is a good place to be. It feels good to be in the heart. It's just a lot of times we're just thrown back into the matrix so easily, with everyday life and the programming and the busy stress, and it's good to be able to just be authentic. Yeah, that's all.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Good to be you, Evie. Yeah.
George, I had a question. Do you see hard times at Ridgemont High coming on the map? Do you see us skirting through a lot of these the great leveling? I like that phrase to it all. Or do you see the great leveling upon us? I don't mean
definitely a storm's brewing. Definitely a storm is brewing on a global scale, and we need to weather the storm. And the best way that we're going to get through that storm is to really go within our own essence and be as centered as we can through it. The factional fighting between the synthetic light and the synthetic dark is really quite intense. I mean, we see it at play all the time. That's why we've got these religious conflicts and what have you. That's those energies playing out, and you can see how vicious and brutal they can be and how intense they can be. So I don't see that the whole global system will fall into something brutal, but I do feel it's, there's some dark clouds looming on the horizon and the storm is approaching. And I'm not saying this to take the wind out of people's sails, like I said in the interview with Dean. We just got to be more grounded and just realistic and not just get caught up in that fool's paradise. So there's a lot of people doing a lot of cosmic drug taking at the moment. And I know it's a harsh thing to say, but I'm just calling it for what it is. And they're blissing out on all these meditative processes and on all these light energies. And, that's fine, but, good for them. But they're going to find it very difficult when the poo hits the proverbial fan and things get difficult on this planet, because they won't want to face it. Well, some of them will, but it'll be really more difficult for them. And then so what they will tend to want to do is to go even further into those light energies, and off they will go with their, ascended masters and what have you into these so-called realms. And they'll be, they're being steered into that direction already. So I just feel need more of a grounded approach, a more realistic approach, where we know how to walk between the worlds in a balanced way. So we walk between the spiritual and the physical, and we find that beautiful, harmonious balance between the two. We hold the balance. We hold them in balance and work with the two together, to walk that middle path and to be the middle path, and to know how to utilize those energies in any given moment. How much negativity do we need to implement? How much positivity do we need to implement? How much dark do we need to implement? How much light do we need to implement? And go through the process of blending and integrating the two, which eventually is going to help us to leave the arena of the dark and the light in this version of polarity as we experience it here. That's our way out, is to integrate the two into this unified state of being. That is the way I see it.
You say that this is the way out.
The way out of the synthetic matrix that has imposed itself upon us. So I don't mean the way out of this planet or out of this, it's more like the situation, the way out of these energies having an effect on us, because it's overlaid over the natural order. So the synthetic energies have come here and they've implemented themselves, and with our permission, they have come here and been allowed to implement their systems, their programs and their agendas onto the planet, onto humanity and onto us individually as well. So now as we go through the process of, overall what we're doing is we are reclaiming our planet, because it's our planet, and we are reclaiming it. We then go through the process of becoming organic and authentic again. So we go to that place within ourselves which is beyond the dualistic nature of the synthetic realities. So all those programs, all those layers of programs are being transmuted. We're working through them. We're transmuting them. They're peeling away, and we're moving into this wonderful place of balance, of harmony and synchronicity in life, where we just flow once again with the natural order. So what we're doing is it's a symbiotic thing. I suppose I did it in a proximity way, where we're able to leave the clutches, you could say, of the synthetic programs and the synthetic reality. But at the same time, we are, liberating ourselves from that energy, but we're also anchoring more of ourselves here. So it's a symbiotic thing. The more spiritually enlightened we become, the more grounded we become. It sounds like a paradox, but it actually works, because you're bringing more of your light and more of your beingness into this world, which is then raising the vibration of the world, of the planet.
So is this the current understanding of the fifth dimension? You talked about the fifth dimension, a few years ago, that we were going towards the fifth dimension. But this sounds like anchoring the fifth dimension with a great love and respect for life. That's
right. That's what we're doing. And it sounds like, because, we're talking about symbiosis and we're talking about the dualistic nature of the universe. So at the same time that we are leaving the frequencies of these other energies, we are at the same time anchoring the fifth dimensional energies here. So this reality is becoming more fifth dimension and above. Therefore, we are entering into the fifth dimension more.
And is this also helping the Earth herself to do the same in some
exactly.
ways?
We're doing it together. We're absolutely doing it together.
Because I had this experience, it was actually on an ayahuasca journey, that the Earth was talking to me, and I was in some of my shame and pain, and she said, "Don't feel that way. You've done so much for me." And I went, "Yeah, right. I did something for you? And she said, it was all my years of studying with extraordinary woman, Aisha Lupp, who was really empowering herself in a very authentic way and taking back her power. And I was supporting her through it by making conscious my shadow pieces. And I was also becoming embodying and going through the guilt and shame and just having the courage to be present, very much what you're talking about. She said, thank you. You're my role model. And I went, I'm hallucinating now. This is like over the top. This couldn't be happening. But she kept insisting that it is people embodying their authentic presence that is giving her the courage to do so. And, I don't know if I'm getting that exactly right, but now I'm hearing this.
Yeah, you have got it right.
I mean, this is phenomenal to think about that, to think that we are actually, and John Lash talks about that Sophia is asking us to command her. She's waking up from an autism into her nightmare of what's been happening, all this. She couldn't even feel it herself. It's been so horrific. And to ascend, she's literally going through this herself, and she needs us to be doing it. That takes it into a whole other level of reality, on the bad days.
Yeah, it's co-creative responsibility, isn't it? Now we go into the realms of co-creative responsibility. So it's amazing how many of us are saying the same thing, but, coming from a different place. But we're all intending and saying the same thing.
And that's why, even those who can't speak that are doing it are having a gigantic impact on the evolution and the ascension of this planet. It's big.
Yeah. I had a private session with a lady the other day, and she's she's crippled with pain, right? And she's carrying one of the energetic streams that need processing by Mother Earth. There's just, I don't know, I couldn't count how many women have been doing this on the planet.
Yeah.
And there's women out there who are in total agony because that's what they're doing. They're carrying so much load, helping Mother Earth to carry the load, and they're processing it.
Muting the pain body of the planet. Is that what you're saying? That women do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been experiencing that for years in my own body. And most men, most anybody, they haven't a clue. And most of it goes on in silence and just in your aloneness. But, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to throw out there, actually, that that's such amazing insight about the symbiotic relationship. There's another person, Manly P. Hall, actually talks about that humanity is the physical embodiment of the solar system overcoming each one of its aspects of itself. Not overcoming, but taking a good look in the mirror with itself. That humanity is actually the faculty of the sun and the earth and all the planets, sort of taking this all in, and through our relationships, raising the bar, to.
Does it matter?
Are you there?
Yes.
Matt? Okay.
Yep. Could you?
Click the button.
Yeah, we heard you say, Matt, about Manly P. Hall talking about how humanity is you could say, a fractal of the solar system, and how we're having to deal with all the different aspects of all the different planets and what have you in the solar system. And I relate to that because the way I present that same perspective, just in a different way, is that each of the planets, which I understand there to be quite a few, but I'll just stick to 12 that I understand actually carry the 12 archetypal personalities of the universal creator. And that's what the consciousness of the sun, for me, the consciousness behind the sun has to do with what I consider that consciousness. And so we, as a fractal of the universe, which is what our embodiments are, is a reflection of that, and we're having to work through all the different archetypal personalities within ourselves as well. So it's a very similar thing.
Yeah, no, I think it's just so beautiful to kind of hear that sentiment echoed in all these different places. It's just so powerful. It's really so great.
Awesome. Okay, we have a question from Dusty. Dusty?
Oh, I'm still here. I didn't realize that I pressed the question button.
Okay. All right. Never mind. No worries. Is anybody else? We have about 7 minutes to make the 2-hour mark. I would like to mention again that these... hello? Yeah. I would like to mention that this is a call that is on a donation basis, but it would be glorious if we all went to r/JourneyJeffHome and bought one of George's audio pods, his Super Woo radio pods, with a donation of $5 to $10 or more, if you can. That would be wonderful. And I don't know, did you want to mention how they can contact you? I know that you're doing private sessions. You mentioned that. And I would imagine that would be an extraordinary experience. How do they contact you for a private session, George?
The website is ourjourneyhome.com.au, and you can just click on the link there. You'll see private session tab, and just go from there. It's quite easy to navigate your way through that. And for the Super Woo, you can go to Super Woo Radio through the main website, but if you want to go direct to the actual radio website, it's superwooradio.com.au, and Super Woo is spelled SUPERWOO, radio, because, it's all about, we talk all this woo-woo stuff, and we like to think that we don't talk normal woo, we actually talk super woo, because we're talking on some pretty serious levels here.
Oh, that's great. So we do have about 5 more minutes, so if anybody would like to say hello to George, just a personal hello is perfectly acceptable, or had any kind of comments or any further questions, now would be the time.
I'll ask one.
Sienna.
I just want to know if...
Oh, wait 1 minute. We have 2 people jumping in here. Is that Peter? Peter? Dusty? Somebody else? 360? Hello?
Hello?
That's not me.
Hello, Sienna.
Yes.
It's
Who's
Peter.
that?
Peter.
Oh, lovely. Yes. Marvelous. Welcome. We can. Did you have anything to say to George? She just made it on the call in the last 5 minutes, but she really wanted to be here sooner. She's from Australia. You know George? You've met George, I think. Oh, are you just on the same continent? Okay, lovely. Did you have something you wanted to say?
Hi, George. How you going?
Hey, what is your name, Peter?
Yeah. Michael.
Hey, Peter.
Michael Nightstar, Peter.
Sorry, can you say that again, please?
I'm Michael's other half, Peter. PTA.
Oh, hello.
Hello. How you going?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Excellent. Yeah.
Whereabouts are you?
We're in Adelaide.
Of course.
Having an awesome time.
Yeah.
I think a number of breakthroughs from the sounds of it, and another person who's followed your work very closely. Yes.
Absolutely.
Did you have any question or anything for George?
Well, sorry, I was actually just on another call, so I didn't get to listen to everything that you were talking about, but I just, I don't really have any questions as such, George. I'm really, really excited about what you were talking about. You and Sienna were talking about before about really connecting with the earth and how she kind of is relying on us as well.
And that really meant a lot to me because just recently I felt that she's really triumphant, and I feel like I have come through a new place, and I'm feeling like a triumphant being as well. And it's just so exciting to feel this shift where I feel like I have no doubts now that we've come to a really new place, and I'm just so excited about the new cycle. It's just phenomenal. And yeah, and also, Sienna, before when you were talking about guilt and shame, that to me is so important because it's been a really big thing to me lately about this huge shift that I've gone through. It's been about facing that guilt and shame, that inherent guilt and shame that I've had about all the stuff, all that stuff that isn't me, that I've been able to let go of, but I was so ashamed of it. So I think the guilt and the shame has a lot to do with what we're going through, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You, Peter, because sometimes we've connected over time, and I can tune in energetically long distance, which is a part of the new template because it's so much easier to do that. It's just astounding to me that there's this timeless connection between us all, and I can know what's going on, and I can feel the energy shift, and I'm feeling that you really are tapping into what George calls these new templates, that when we get this, when we do this clearing and balancing, and we're integrating and accepting reality and becoming our real selves, that, wow, the Earth is ascending. We are doing this with her. It is a delicious, delightful, joyous, blissful. I don't mean disembodied blissful. I mean right here, right now, super connected bliss state. It's awesome, isn't it? I mean, it's great bennies for doing this work. It's not just some martyr trip to do for the Earth. It's instantaneous, ecstatic energy that we now have a possibility to embody as much as we can allow it. It's incredible. It's
extremely fulfilling. It's extremely fulfilling.
Absolutely. It's just so exciting. I'm so excited to be here on this planet right now. It's just been the most challenging year, and I know all of us have had the hardest year. And it just feels like we've triumphed. And, yeah, I'm just so excited.
After getting to 0 point, and I know we're at 2 hours now, so we need to round up, but I think you're both talking about this place of deeply experiencing all these aspects so thoroughly. They are no longer dominating your reality. They no longer have power over you. None of it has power over us. We are free and sovereign because we've completely accepted it, which is that dichotomy, right? Completely accepted the pain, the joy, the predator, the victim, all of it. Totally live it free, and then there's this other opportunity that just comes flooding in at the end of that journey. But wherever we're stuck, we get stuck back in time, as Steve Richard talks about, right? And then it's all crap again. And it's super crap in this energy because it's just so in our face. We can't avoid it anymore. We can't run from it. So it's really very black and white, too. You're just either in the crapper or you're in this other energy. That's what I'm experiencing. It's very super intense in that way. But anyway, you were talking about 0 point, and I would love to hear your sense of that because it is where we are all heading towards. It's not a feelingless place, but it's a place of, well, I don't know. What are your words to describe it? Can you?
Yeah. Are you referring to me, Sienna?
No.
Hello?
Was that for George? Was that question aimed at George?
Oh, I'd like to hear what both of you have to say about it.
Oh, cool.
You go.
Do you want to go first? Oh, thanks.
Ladies first.
Yeah, 0 point for me. It's a really deep place. It's like a place where you're just fully present in the moment, and you're not reacting to anything. You're being an observer. So it's coming from a place that's very conscious of. Oh, can you hear me?
You're breaking up some. I don't know why, but yeah, it's a little bit.
Okay.
I think someone needs to mute their microphone. Someone who's coughing.
Okay.
If you can please mute your microphone.
Yeah, I think that's better. Yeah, it's just, for me recently, I've just really felt this sense of the external energies just dropping away. And so I've been able to kind of dive into my inner core self, and it just seems that stuff that comes up is really easy to just let go of. And so for me, 0 point is sort of being in that, like what you were talking about before, George, with your heart being your eye. Like, to me, that's the 0 point. And it's a place that feels, it's like I've been cleansed inside myself, and everything sort of washed away, all the dirt and the dense energies and all the kind of things that are obstructing me from being my true authentic self has been, it's much easier just to sort of let go of now, and to be in that 0 point, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It's you've worded it so beautifully in a way that people can relate to. It's that place of harmony and that place of balance between the two charges of negative and positive, of dark and light. It's walking that middle road, and some people call it walking the razor's edge. It's once you get there, each time you venture away from there, it becomes more painful. When you get dragged or lured into either side, it's a beautiful place to be, and it's the place of just home, of feeling home within yourself, and that place of security, that place of strength, that place of inner fortitude. It's amazing how strong you become within yourself, even though there are people out there that try to make you feel small. You still hold your space, and you can actually see where they're coming from. It's really, really a wonderful place to be. I think you've really explained it quite well there, Peter, so I won't elaborate any further because you did such a wonderful job.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it is really an amazing place to be, because you're not getting sort of sucked into drama, because you've taken a step back and you're really seeing things with a clear insight, because you are coming from that deeper part of yourself that knows everything and understands everything, and it's quite amazing. And it's just the past few days.
Right at the end.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it just seems that we're getting some feedback. That's all.
Yeah. That happens.
Okay. Are there any more? Yeah. Are there any more questions, Sienna? Sienna Lay.
Yeah. Are there any questions?
I'm sorry, Sienna Lay. I can't hear you.
Can't hear me? Not at all?
Barely hear you.
Well,
Well, maybe it's time to round this up now. We've run over 2 hours. Do you hear me at all?
Just.
Okay. I think we need to call it a night. Oh.
Okay.
Almost 7, 9.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
Thank you, George. Thank you, Sienna.
Thank you, Sienna.
Thank you,
George.
Sienna. Thank you, George.
And thank you, everybody, for wanting to come along and participate in this beautiful circle that Sienna has facilitated for us all to come together. It's been really a beautiful space. And there's been not just me sharing the wisdom here, but the energy of everybody involved has really helped everybody else as well. So thank you for all coming along and bringing your individual notes to create this beautiful symphony we've created here today. It's lovely. Thank you. And thank you, CNLA, for putting in such a big effort to make this happen. Really, truly appreciate it.
Thank you for so much love to all of you.
Yeah. So much love. Good night, everybody. You guys are so cool.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.